So your lab experiment number 4 is with respect to string and a string buffer. And I know that we have not yet started with a string buffer with respect to a theory. Now I will give you a small introduction with respect to a string buffer, what exactly is a string buffer, and how it is having a property of mutable, right? So this we have said. We said clearly that your string is immutable, whereas a string buffer is mutable. Mutable in the sense, once you give us some value, it will be ready to take a changes, right? So we will just go through a small discussion with respect to string buffer, right? So then we will see the complete program. Okay. So first, if you look at the program, only one particular operation is expecting a string buffer. All other operations are not expecting a string buffer. They are okay with respect to normal strings, right? So let us read the program first. Then we will see what are the things that we need to understand a string buffer first. So that theoretical aspect we will take later, right? So the first question is something like this: check the length, check the length and the capacity of a string and a string buffer object. So do you know how to check a length of a string? How to check the length of a string? Do you have any methods for that to check the length of a string? strlen, it is in a C language. With respect to Java, length method. Yes, Ritik Singh. So with respect to a Java, you have a method called a length. So using a length method, that means whichever string. Yes, yes, Braham. So you have a method called a length. So using that particular method called a length, you can find how many number of characters are there with respect to string length. And a capacity, this particular capacity is only applicable for a string buffer, cannot be applicable for the string. That means if you have a string object, you cannot call a string dot capacity because that particular method belongs to a string buffer. Right? So we will see what is the difference between length and a capacity. Right? So that is the first point. What is your first program? So means with respect to a program, which is the first operation to be done? To check the length and the capacity of a string and a string buffer objects. That we will discuss in detail. What is the capacity, right? So second option. So the second operation says reverse the contents of a string given on console and convert the resultant string in uppercase. That means you have to read an input from the user, correct? You have to read an input from the user. Whatever input you have read, you need to convert, so means you need to reverse that particular input, right? After making it reverse, you need to convert its case to uppercase, right? So here what we will do is, first we will write a program for calculating reverse of the input. That means we will read an input. So once we call our method, that particular method should reverse that particular string. After making a reverse of the string, then we will convert that one to uppercase. Clear with the second operation? Third operation. Input a string from the console. That means again you need to take an input from the console and append it to the above resultant string. Okay. So second operation, you will be taking a one input, you will be reversing that particular input and converting that one to uppercase. This is second operation. For whatever output you got for the second operation, for that you need to append some more content. That is your third operation. Clear? And a fourth operation, extract the substring from the resultant string. Extract the substring from the resultant string. Okay. So whatever a string you got from the third operation, that means this particular resultant string, you need to perform a method of substring and extract a few substrings from that particular resultant string. Clear with the question? Understood what has to be done with respect to each subtopics of the program? I will explain you capacity with respect to a first operation. Second operation is simple. You need to read a input, reverse that particular input, print that one in uppercase. Second operation. Third operation is after making it as a uppercase, some input you have to read from the user. You need to concatenate that particular input to a previously got the result, right? So to this particular resultant string, you have to extract some substring. 4 operations we have to do. Shall we proceed then? Right. So I already told you we have to discuss something with respect to a capacity of a string buffer, right? So let us quickly see few slides with respect to a string buffer. Then we will see how to write a program for that particular first point. Okay. 1 second. Let me share you a PPT. Right. In the previous classes, I told you that your string class is immutable, whereas string buffer class is mutable. Mutable in the sense it will be having a capacity, that means it will be having a flexibility. Whenever an input comes, that means whenever there is a change, it is ready to accept that particular change without creating a new object. This is what is nothing but mutable property. Clear? But with respect to a strings, if you are changing its content, it will be creating a new object for you. That is your immutable property. Right. Now the question is, how come a string buffer became immutable? Immutable, right? String buffer is mutable. Correct? Now the question is, how does this particular string buffer became mutable? Right? So how it became a mutable is, say for example, whenever you are creating a string buffer object, okay, by default it will be having a capacity to hold 16 characters. By default it will be having a capacity to hold 16 characters, right? Now say for example, while creating a string buffer object, if you gave some value, that means if you wrote string buffer sb is equal to new string buffer of Jain, if you have given a Jain, something like that, how many characters are there with respect to a Jain? 4 characters, right? So what a string buffer will do is it will give a 4 locations for that particular Jain. Along with that, it will be having a extra 16 spaces which are not allocated and which are empty, right? So what I mean to tell you is, once a string buffer object has been created, there will be a extra space given for a 16 characters, right? So it will be in a position to allocate 16 extra characters for you. So that is the reason why a string buffer is mutable. Okay, say for example, if you are giving a 16 characters, that means first you have initialized a particular object with a particular string buffer object with a Jain. Later you have added a 16 characters because you have a space for a 16. But now if you have entered a 17, means what it will do is it will create an object. So means it will make a another space such that it will copy everything from an existing object to that particular new object, and it will make a 16 spaces ready for you extra, right? So conclusion is simple. Whenever you are using a string buffer, there will be additional 16 spaces available for you. This point you have to remember. Now where does the length and the capacity comes? Length is nothing but the number of characters in that particular string. That means, say for example, if your string buffer has been created with respect to 4 characters, the length of a string buffer is a 4, but what is the capacity? Capacity is nothing but how many number of characters it can accommodate. That is the capacity, right? So there is a lot of a difference between a length and a capacity. Length is nothing but the number of characters that are there with respect to string length. Capacity is nothing but this particular method is applicable only for a string buffer, and capacity is nothing but how many number of characters it can accommodate. That is capacity. Right? So let us look at the points, then you have a few examples also. There we can come to a proper idea of how exactly the string buffer is working. String buffer represents growable and writable character sequences. Growable, right? You can increase, extra 16 spaces will be there anytime. Okay. String buffer may have characters and substrings inserted in the middle or appended at the end, right? So whichever operation you are going to do, it is not going to create a new object for you. In an existing object itself, you can do all these changes. You can insert some substring in the middle of the existing string, or you can append a substring at the end of a existing string, right? So in any of these cases, it is not going to create a new object for you, because string buffer is a mutable one. String buffer will automatically grow to make room for additions and often has more characters pre-allocated. That means I already told you there will be a space for additional 16 characters can be allocated at any time. Right? So constructors with respect to string buffer. If I am just writing a string buffer object, if I am just creating a string buffer object, then a default size will be a 16 characters. String buffer followed by size. That means instead of adjusting with a 16, you can specify explicitly how many number of locations you want. Right? If I am specifying string buffer of some 60 here, so it will be creating a one object which can allocate 60 characters. Right? So this particular int size talks about capacity. What capacity of a string buffer you require. String buffer, string str. That means instead of specifying, so means you can specify a string also. By using a string, it will be creating a string buffer. So with respect to this particular example, after taking a string, it will be having an extra 16 spaces for any operations on a strings. Right? So string comma with 16 characters extra. Clear? String buffer character sequence chars. That means you can specify one set of characters also, and you can make that one as a string buffer also. So this we have seen with respect to normal strings also. We said for a normal string, if you are giving a character array, then it will be converting that particular character array to string, right? So similar to that particular part, you can have a constructor with respect to string buffer also, right? So you have two methods, which is length and a capacity. So the current length of a string buffer can be found via the length method. The total allocated capacity can be found through the capacity method, right? They have the following general forms. Int length, that means how many number of characters that are there with respect to string buffer, that will be written. So it is a int return type. Int capacity, this one is also whatever is the maximum number of characters it can allocate, so that will be some integer number, so the return type is int itself, right? So here is a small example to understand what exactly is the length and what exactly is the capacity. If you are able to give me the answer for this particular system.out.println statement, then that justifies that you understood whatever I have explained. If you have any questions, you can post those questions in a chat box. Hello 416. Okay. Buffer plus ESB. So ESB is having that particular hello. Hello will be printed. Okay. Then string buffer you have creating length ESB dot length. You have how many characters you have in a hello? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have a 5 characters. So length will be 5. Correct? Huh. Capacity. So what is the capacity? Capacity, I said, like at any time you will be having a extra 16 spaces. I said you will be having extra 16 spaces, right? Extra 16 spaces in the sense first 5 locations have been occupied by this particular hello. So you will be having a remaining a 60 spaces. So what is the total capacity? Total capacity will be a 16 plus 5. So that is a 21. Right? So first println statement will give you a hello, second println statements will give you a number of characters in that particular hello, and the third statement will give you a capacity. So capacity is nothing but maximum number of characters that that particular string buffer can allocate. Right? So already 5 has been allocated, so it will be having another 16 spaces. So total capacity will be a 21. Right? Okay. So I think I have not written output, but anyhow, we will be seeing an example on this one. So you will be having a more clarity on this. Right. So if you are clear with the length and the capacity, shall we directly proceed with our lab program? Just cross check. Let us just cross check whether length and capacity, whatever we have discussed, is fine or not. Right. Right. So here I have just created one prototype and not implemented anything. We will do one thing. As we have a 4 different cases, we will write a 4 different methods. Each method for one case, right? So then we will see. Then we will call each method from the main function and try to see whether the things are going to working fine or not. Okay. So let me create a class called cases, right? So that says that for each and every case I am writing a different method, right? So what is the first program? So first point is with respect to demonstration of length and the capacity of string and the string buffer. If you forgot the statement, just have a small look on the statement, right? So we have to check the length and the capacity of a string buffer objects. We have to just to check what is the length and the capacity of a string buffer objects. Okay, so with respect to program void, let me say this one is a demo one, right? So with respect to this particular demo one, let me copy few constructor, that is string constructors, and paste it here. Okay, you can easily understand what exactly I am copy pasting once you see once you see what I have pasted actually. Right here I have a few strings created. The first one is the normal string S is equal to Jain University. The second one is a string buffer object without passing any argument. So simple string buffer object. The second one SB2, that means a string buffer 2 is having a some value SCTJU. Okay. And the last one is a string buffer object, that is a SB3, which is having a size of a 50. That means I already told you, if you are specifying int followed by number, this is nothing but a capacity. Clear? No confusions in the way I have created a strings, right? I'm just displaying you, so means I'm just executing a program in a part by part fashion just to make you clear with the each and every operation whatever we are doing. I have directly copy pasted just because I'm not doing anything there, just a different ways of creating your string. Can I proceed? With respect to string buffer, these are the different constructors that we have seen, right? If you want me to show the slide again, I'll show you, no problem. Right? So just creating some objects. One object is a string object, normal string object, and the other 3 objects are a string buffer object. Right? So now what we have to do is, for a string normal S, I cannot use a string capacity function. what I can use is string length function I can use, right? On a SB1, SB2, SB3, right? I can go with the length operation, I can go with the capacity operation, correct? Now, with respect to yes, if I ask about length of this particular yes, right? So what will be answer? What is the length of this particular Jain University? Length, yes dot length. How you will be finding a length? You will be writing yes dot length, right? This is how you will be finding a length of this particular string yes, right? So what is the output of this particular yes dot length method? How many number of characters are there with respect to Jain University? 15, 15, 14. You have to include a space also as a character, right? So answer for this particular one is 15, right? I already told you, you don't have a something called as a capacity. Ruby Kumari, count properly, 15 characters are there. JIN 4 space 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15. How come 16 comes? 15, right? Now, with respect to this particular operation, with respect to second one, SB1, what will be a length? What will be a length? How you will be calculating length of a SB1? Similarly, SB1 dot length. You can write a SB1 dot length. SB1 dot length. It will give you a length. What is the length of this particular string buffer? How many number of characters are there with respect to string buffer 1? 16. 16. Don't get confused with respect to length and a capacity. Zero. Zero is the length because I'm not putting any string here, right? It is just an empty string buffer you are creating, right? Empty string buffer. Nothing has been put in that particular string buffer. Its length will be a 0. Clear? Right. So if I am calling SB1 dot capacity, if I am calling SB1 dot capacity, what will be answer? What is the capacity of this particular string buffer, which is an empty string buffer? Correct. 16. Nice answers. That means you understood what is the concept of a length and a capacity. Right. So that is with respect to SB1. Right. So what is with what will be answers with respect to SB2? If I am talking about SB2 dot length, what will be answer? What is the length of your string buffer 2? 5, because those are the number of characters with respect to string buffer, right? Super answers. Then if I am talking about SB2 dot capacity, what will be a capacity now? Super answers again. 21, right? Now with respect to this particular string buffer SB3, what will be a length? I am talking about SB3. Length is 0. Perfect. What is the capacity? Capacity will be whatever is the capacity you are specifying as an argument. Whatever is the capacity that you are specifying as an argument, that will be a capacity. Right? So when you are saying explicitly, it will not create a 16 extra spaces for you. When you said a 50, then it will come to know that, oh, this person is having idea that how many number of a capacity, what should be a capacity of this particular string buffer. So it will give you those many characters. So means that much capacity for you. Right? So clear with all the values. Okay. So now let me just copy paste few more statements. Whatever the things you said till now, so the same thing has been written in terms of a system.out.println statement. Nothing more than that. Length with respect to SB3, it is a 0 because you don't have any string created. You specified 50. 50 in the sense you are talking about capacity, you are not talking about a length. In the slides, I have told you with respect to its constructor, if you are giving a int followed by size, then you are talking about its capacity. Right? Am I writing the same things here in this particular statements also? See, I am writing s dot length, checking what is the length of my normal string. SB1 dot length, SB2 dot length, SB3 dot length. Done with the length part. Checked all the lengths. Now, SB1 dot capacity, SB2 dot capacity, SB3 dot capacity. I told you capacity is only with respect to a string buffer, not with respect to string. You already answered all those things. Just written those things as a format of your what I can say println statements. Any doubts with any of these particular system.out.println statements?
Yes, sir. Sir.
Whatever we have discussed, the same thing has been written in terms of a println statements. You can see dot length. First we have finished, then we have gone with the dot capacity. Right. Shall we execute our first demo method? Demo 1. First option. How to call this particular method from a main function. What is the class you have created? Cases, right? Cases, right? I need to create object of that particular cases, then I need to call that particular method. This is how you will be doing, right? Right. So C1, that means case 1 is equal to new cases. Have created object of that. Then by using a C1, I'll call a method called a demo1. So this is the method where I have written all those system.out.println statements, right? So let me quickly run the program and cross check whatever the answers you have given. So the same answers are reflecting or not. Copied. Java C file name.java. Okay. So means compiled. There is a warning, but no problem. It is showing the answer, but select. Right. So whatever the values you gave previously, so same values it is showing. 15. Then 0 is the length. First we have discussed. First we have written all the length statements, so it is printing a 0. Then the length of a SB2, so 5. So here also 5. Then the length of a string buffer of a SB3, you have said a 0. So same thing has been reflected here also, right? So capacity, you told first 16, next 21, and later 50. 16, 21, 50. Right? So if you have any confusions with respect to any of this particular part, Shaifullah, what is this? Sir, can you explain again from a beginning? From a beginning means from a capacity.
Yes, sir. Sir, I didn't get.
You have only two methods. One is the length and another one is the capacity. Length will give you number of characters in a string. Capacity will give you how many number of characters it can accommodate. Say for example, if you want to understand with respect to some real world example, I'll tell you. In a particular class, say for example, in your class, there might be a 70 students, right? But the class capacity cannot be a 70. It should have a more benches to accommodate a more number of students, right? So what I mean to tell you is, if I talk about a length will talk about number of people in a class, number of people in a class. Capacity, if I talk about a capacity, it says how many number of a people does the class can accommodate. That is a capacity. And this particular capacity is valid only with respect to string buffer, not with respect to a string, because string is immutable, but a string buffer is a mutable, right? So as it is a mutable, as it allows appending and adding a few values in the middle of a string, so it will be having an extra 16 spaces. Understood the difference between length and a capacity? So the same values you are using. So means if you want to know what is the length of a string buffer, you are using a length function. If you want to know what is the capacity of a string buffer, you are using a capacity function.
So one doubt. Hello.
Are you clear with my explanation now?
Hello.
Okay, so if you have a still confusions, when I share your recording, you go through the recording. There I have clearly mentioned what are the different constructors of a string buffer. Then I have explained what is capacity and what is the length. Okay, so this is with respect to your option number 1 of a lab program, right? So what is your option number 2? Let us go to the statement. Okay, reverse the contents of a string given on a console and convert the resultant string in uppercase, right? So this is our second operation, right? So let us proceed with your second option. So what does the second option says is, you have to read an input from the user, that is a console, convert that particular input to a reverse of a string. That means you have to perform a reverse of a string. Okay, now after performing a reverse of the string, you need to make it as a uppercase. Okay, so first we will write instructions for a reading a input from the user, then we will write instructions for a making it as a reverse one. Okay, so as I need to read the input from the user, initially I have imported this particular java.util. You can write a .scanner also. Just I wanted to utilize every class from that particular package. So I wrote just a java.util, right? So now I require a scanner object. So let me create scanner SC is equal to new scanner from system.in. A question in a chat box. Sir, doubt I had is that if we take input from the user, will the capacity increase or decrease? It will increase. Capacity will increase if you are reading an input from the user. That only I told you, at any point of a time, your string buffer will make sure that you will be having an extra 16 spaces for immediate values to come into that particular string buffer. Say for example, if you are reading an input from a user, say for example, you have read some 17 characters. At that time, what it will do is, first it will copy all those 17 characters, then it will create another 16 spaces for you for a further utilization of that particular values. That means at any point of a time, you will be having a 16 spaces ready for you.
Sir, even if we concat two strings, then also?
Right. So string, I am reading an input, right? So let me write this one as something called a read. String read, that means this value I wanted to read from the user. Read. SC dot Next line. I am reading the input from the user. Clear with the things? Right? So L should be capital. Right. Now whatever input I have read, so that will be in this particular variable called a read. Right. So now what I have to do is I have to define one more method which will perform a reverse of this particular input. Right. So what is my requirement now? This particular method, whatever I am going to write, it has to take that particular input, whatever you have read, and it has to calculate the reverse of that particular input and return to the person. Right. So string is what I am expecting in return from this particular method, and that particular method name is demo2, and it is accepting an argument, right? So what argument it is accepting? Let me call it as R. That means whatever read you are passing, that will be given for this particular method called a read. Correct? Now can I make a call from a main method to this particular method? Yes, you can make a call. How can you make a call? You use a previous object itself created, call a demo2, right? So whatever input you have read, you pass that particular input, right? So what is the return type for this? String. That means if you are passing this particular read to this particular method, in a return it will be giving you a some string. As it is giving me a some string, let me equate this particular value to a something called as read. I just wrote an overview. I didn't implement anything with respect to read, so means reversing a string. Not done anything with respect to that. Clear? Shall we write a code for reversing our input now? Understood whatever the things I have done till now? I have just read an input from the user and calling that particular method by passing this argument. As this particular method is returning a string, I am equating that particular value to a read. If any confusions, so means if anybody didn't understood what are the things I have done, you can post that particular question in a chat box. If not, then I will start with the implementation of string reverse part. Can we proceed with the string reverse? Okay, so before we proceed, Kevin has got one more doubt. Sir, in case I concatenate two strings, so in that case, will the extra space in a capacity will be used or again increased? Say for example, if you are concatenating two strings, so after concatenation, whatever is the size, right? So okay, after concatenation also, if you don't have a 16 spaces, it will create a 16 spaces for you. After concatenation also 16 spaces will be available for you. Ruby Kumari, sir, I didn't get a scanner part. Scanner part, nothing is there, just a scanner object I have created. So using that object, I am writing the next line method. What does the next line method will do is, it will wait for a user input, whatever a user inputs, right? So that will be taken into this particular variable called a read. This scanner object we have created in the last classes also for reading a input. There you have used a next int. Later I told instead of using a next int, you take a next double. Brahan, I told I just wrote an overview. I didn't implement a reversing of a string. People might be confused why you are passing a read here, why this particular method has been equated to this particular string reverse. So I am just conveying that particular parts. right? So input you will be reading and that will be stored in a read. So you are passing that particular read as an argument for this particular demo 2, right? Okay, so you got the input. Now what you have to do is you have to reverse that particular input. So how to reverse that particular input? First you need to know how many number of characters that are there with respect to R. Then you have to create one empty string, right? So with respect to input, say for example, if a input you read is something called as Jane, or let us go with the hello, right? So now this particular hello is copied into this particular read, and this particular hello has been passed here with respect to R, right? So now with respect to R, you have a something called as hello. Correct. Now what I'm saying is you take one variable which is called as reverse, some reverse. Initially you make it as a null. Initially you make it as a null. Now what you do is from this particular input you copy characters one by one from the last till the first. Did you understand the logic what I said? Initially this particular rev will be empty. Now what you will do is from the input, that is from this particular R, you copy each and every character from this one to this particular rev in a reverse direction, right? So first you copy O into this particular rev, next copy H, L, next copy L, next copy E, next copy H. This will be your reverse input, means reverse of whatever the input you have given. Shall we implement this? Understood the logic whatever I said? Right. Let me create one empty string. No. Are you clear that this particular hello has been passed here? Now R will be having a whatever input you have read. Now what I
But
said
sir,
is
you're
I
already
will be
passing
taking one
their
empty
read,
string.
right?
Nothing will
So
be there in that particular string. Now what I will do is from the input from this particular hello,
Sir,
each character from the last till first I will copy into this
sir,
particular reverse. First I will copy 0 O, next I will copy L, next I will copy L, next I will copy E, next I will copy H. Did I got a reverse of that particular input?
Put in chat box.
Let me start writing the code, you will understand whatever I said. I said I need to have a one string reverse which is an empty string. This is a local variable, don't get confused with respect to this particular main method rev. This is the local string with respect to this particular method called a demo2, right? Yes, our intention is to make that one as a reverse. Whatever the input you have given, you wanted to make it as a reverse one. Int, see, I wanted to copy the characters from this particular input. Now what I will do is I will take a variable called I, where I is equal to r dot length. If I write it like this, what will be the value of I with respect to our example? If I write int I is equal to r dot length, length will be a 5. Now what I said is my intention is first I need to copy O to this particular rev, right? So what is the index of O? Right, index of O is 4, right? When the index of O is a 4, if I am taking r dot length, so means this particular value will be a 5. Now what I will do is I will make -1 with respect to this particular length. correct? Now while I is greater than or equal to 0, that means when I is a positive, what I will do is my value in a array is equal to previous value in a array plus with respect to input dot I have a function called a char at. What does a caret will do? Char at function extracts a character whichever index you specify, right? So it will extract the characters from the index whichever you specify. Now what I will do here, I will just write I minus minus. What is the initial value of I? 4, right? So initially riv will be a empty. For that particular empty string, you are concatenating r dot char at 4. What is a char at 4? O, right? O will be concatenated first to the reverse. Correct, right? Then you are making I minus minus. I minus minus I made. Loop will be means repeated because initially I value was a 4 here. Here it was a 4 because that was a length minus 1 you say. Number of characters were 5 minus 1 you wrote because the index of a O will be at a location 4, not at a 5. Length was a 4. Whatever character was there at a location 4, now it has been concatenated to my empty string which is called as reverse. Correct? I is decremented. Now I value will become a 3. Whether 3 is greater than or equal to 0? Yes, it is greater than or equal to 0. Condition satisfies. Reverse is means new value of a reverse is equal to old value of a reverse plus r dot char at 3, which is a value at a 3. Which character is there at a location 3? L, right? So this will be repeated until the value of I becomes a 0. I minus minus I am doing from a 4th index till a 0th index, everything will be copied to this particular reverse. Right? After this particular loop, right, my riv value, this particular riv will be having reverse of my input. Okay, so here what I can write is return riv. Correct? To whom it will return now? It will return to a person who is expecting this particular riv. Who is expecting this particular riv? Let us just cross check. Yes, here is a one more reverse string. So this particular riv will be copied to this particular riv. Don't get confused. This is a local variable and this is a another local object with respect to main method. Right? So whatever a reverse you got here, that will be copied to this one. Shall we just cross check whether we got the reverse of our input or not by writing a system dot out dot println system dot out dot println of, I just wanted to know what is there with respect to read, right? So let me write a small statement. Reverse of input is colon double quote plus. Clear? Right? Here let me write a one statement because this is with respect to my case 2 system dot out dot println enter input to get the reverse. A normal statement just to show the user that you are expecting some value there. Right. So let me run the program. No errors. Right. Enter an input to get the reverse. Let me write hello. The reverse is OLLEH. Are we getting the reverse of our input? Now, the main question is we just don't want to get the reverse. We want the uppercase of that particular reverse input. Right? So we have a method which is called as to uppercase. There is a method called a to uppercase. On whichever object you will be calling that particular method, this particular content will be made as a uppercase. Right? So let us just cross check. Hello, uppercase reverse. Got the things? Again, I'm telling you, intention of writing each and every line in front of you to just make you understand each and every statement. If you are not able to understand, then you are lagging with few basics, because I wrote each and every comment and I showed you what will happen with respect to each and every line. If you have the questions, you can post that. Sir, you told us string is immutable, so why don't we make a rev in a demo to string buffer? Yeah, we can. Why don't we use this dot rev? Where you want to use this dot rev? Line number 28. Not required. When you will go with this, if you have any instance variable called a rev, then you can go with this dot rev. I don't have any instance variable called a rev. I have a local variable. This particular rev is a local variable with respect to this particular method. If I have any instance variable, then only I will be using this dot rev. Yes, don't get confused. I have just left. I will just left this particular part idle just to make you make you comfortable. Go through the code, whatever I have written. Be clear with the function call and be clear with what implementation we have written and the methods, whichever things we have used. Right? I'll give you just 2 minutes, go through the things. If you have any questions, you can put those questions in a chat box. If no questions, then we'll go to a third option. How to, our next intention is to append some value to the existing result. So we will see how to do that one. Why are you equating with the string read, string reverse? Because this particular method is returning a string object. That means return rev is there. So when I'm calling this particular method, when I am writing a c1.demo2 in the bracket read, this method will return me some value. Whatever return value has been is coming from this particular demo2, I am storing that one in a rev. This method is taking an input. What is its work? It has whatever input it has taken, it has to perform reverse of that one and reply me. That is how we have written this particular method. So whatever reverse it is returning me, that I am storing in a rev. You can write it as a completely reverse also, no problem. Just instead of wasting the keystrokes, I wrote the same name, rev only. Read is the input, rev is the output. Rev is nothing but reverse of an input. Read will be having hello. This particular read will be having hello. Hello has been passed to the method called a demo2. After getting that particular read, that method is reversing that particular input and giving to this particular rev variable. Here I didn't write a return read. If I am writing a return read, then it is of no use. Whatever you have read, every same thing you are returning. I didn't write a return rev. I said take a input, perform a reverse of that. You can, means you can do in a short method, no problem. You can directly use a reverse of the string. You can directly write a rev method, no problem in that. I just shown you the implementation. Say for example, in examination, if a question is asked, write a program how to reverse a given input without using a system built-in function, then you should not be in a confusion. Read is a variable. Read is the variable. What is the content of that read? That content of a read is nothing but hello. This particular hello I am getting from the input. It is saying enter input to get the reverse. I will show you. It is not like a hello every time. I got your question. You are confused when you are passing a read, how it is giving a reverse of a hello. That is your question. Okay, right. When I compiled and run the program, it is waiting for my input. Here I can enter anything. If I am entering a Ruby, now this particular Ruby will be copied into a variable called a read. So in a reverse, I'll be getting a reverse of this particular input in the capitals. As I have explained the implementation with respect to hello world. So I gave an input as a hello itself. Now whichever input you give, so based on that it will calculate a reverse of that particular part. As I was reading the input from the user, I made that particular variable as a read, nothing more in that. Hope now you understood what are the things we have done. Shall we proceed with our third case? Okay, so what is our third case? Input a string from the console and append it to above resultant string, right? So what is our resultant string presently? Our resultant string is there with respect to rev, right? Our resultant string is there with respect to rev. Now what I have to do is I have to read one more input from the user, right? So let me say that one as read one, reading one more input from the user. Let me use already written a scanner object, say next line. Now I am reading one more input from the user. Now what I have to do is whatever a thing I have read, I need to perform concatenation with respect to previous value, right? Here also we have a shortcut way also. We can directly use a concat method here itself. You can just say rev plus means rev plus whatever input you have used, right? Here we can write system dot out dot println of I can directly write rev, which is a previous value, plus read one. Can we do like this? Enter the reverse join. I have entered as it is coming. Oh, it is waiting for another input to be given. let me give as uni. So it is concatenating. Concatenating, right? Third option is fine. We can write like this, right? We can write like this, no problem with respect to that. But here we are writing cases, right? So let us make it as a method and then perform this particular operation. String, let me say demo3, demo3. Let it accept the two values. Let it accept two values. Yes, Brahan, can be done. N number of ways for n number of ways will be there for a particular implementation. Can be done. Right. So what is that this particular demo 3 should do is it should take a two inputs, means two values it has to take. It has to return concatenation of those two. Can be done. So let us string what is our input. So let me say this one as, will you be in a confusion mode? Nothing like that, right? So let me say this one as a S1 and a string, let me say this one as a S2. It is accepting a two arguments, right? So what it has to do is it has to return me S1 dot concat of S2. Either I can write a S1 plus S2 also, no problem with respect to that. Now here, instead of writing like this directly, I'll be doing a method call. String after concatenation is double quote. I need to call that particular method, right? So how to call that particular method? On the object created, got demo3. It is accepting two arguments to be given. The first argument is rev and the second argument is whatever input you have read. Enter input to concat. Right? So much circus you have done, sir. Compiled, no errors. Input means for a reversing, right? Capital letter of that particular reverse it is showing. University is input to be concatenated. So for the reverse, this has been concatenated. This is your demo 3. I told you even writing a plus and showing output is also valid one. It is also going to append your input to a previously created reverse. Even that is a fine. As I was creating a different methods for a different cases, I wrote a demo 3 as a separate method. You will be having n number of implementations, different implementations with respect to a statement. Shall we proceed with the last? Yes. Hope things are clear. I shown you all the possible ways of writing the same of getting the same output, right? So our last option or a last task need to be done. Extract the substring from a resultant string. Extract the substring from the resultant string. Okay. So let us have a look on the method called the substring quickly, then we will use a substring method, right? So what was the substring method was saying? Here I have a substring method, but what it is saying, use it to extract a substring from the string. There will be one string, from that you will be extracting a few characters to make it as a substring. Done. Then what are the different ways of what are the methods which it can take argument? That means method overloading. What are the different overloaded methods that are available with respect to substring? The first one is you can specify start index. Start index, if you specify, say for example, if you are taking some input, say for example hello you took, if you specify from a index 2, whatever is the remaining, I wanted to make it as a substring. Understood? If I input is the hello, H is having the index 0, E is having the index 1. Now what is my requirement is, I don't want to consider H and E from a index 2. Everything you consider as a one string. That is one way of making a substring. Another way, specify start index and end index also. Specify start index and end index also. Say that from this point to this point, everything should be a substring for me. Clear? Shall we write our demo 4 method? Right. So demo 3 method is done. Let me not take any return value from this particular demo 4. Demo 4. Okay, let it be a void. Let it be accept a string. Right. So let that particular string may be some yes. Okay. So now whichever string you pass to this particular method, within here, here you need to write a statements to extract a substring from this particular yes. Correct? So let me call that particular method first. On an existing object of a C1, let me call a demo4 method. Which argument you want me to pass? Let me pass this particular read1. Read1 is nothing but whatever input I have created, that input will be there. Okay, so what I will do is I will take a complete this particular part into one string. I will say string resultant. This is the one string which is nothing but this particular part. Whatever the total output I got, I will keep it here. Okay, so this resultant will be having complete output now. Okay, now let me pass this particular resultant as an argument for that. No confusions, right? So resultant will be having reverse of a input followed by concatenated value. Okay, so reverse of the input followed by concatenated value, I'm going to pass to this particular string called a yes. Right? So on this particular string called yes, let me write a few statements with respect to substring. I will not write a statement, rather I will just copy paste, because those are means you can easily understand that particular statements. Right. Copy, pasted. So here variable name is yes dot. Right. So now you need to tell me what will be output with respect to these two println statements. What is the value with respect to this particular resultant? Let me show you. Here only you have that particular value. If I am considering this particular value as a resultant, right? So this is the content in the resultant. This is the content in the resultant. Now that particular content has been passed to demo 4. That particular content has been passed to demo 4. So now yes will be having that particular input. Okay, so what is the content of a yes now? Yes content is this particular part. Okay, so this particular part will be a content of a yes. Now what we are saying, yes dot substring of 2. What will be output of this particular statement? What will be output of this particular yes dot substring? You said from index 2. From index 2. I am saying from index 2. Everything should be considered. Right? So what is the character at index 2? This is 0. This is 1. This is 2. That means from this particular index, everything need to be considered. This will be output of this particular statement. What about output of your second statement? What you are saying? From index 2 till 4 you need to consider. From index 2 till 4 you need to consider. Don't consider 4th. Till 4th. I said don't consider a 4th. Till 4th. That means second index, third index. Only those things need to be considered. Not a 4th index. I said from 2 till 4. Don't consider 4. Till 4. Right? So when it is a till 4, you will be having A and a J. Right? Shall we cross check whether everything is working fine or not? Big program. Right. Compiled, fine, no problem with respect to compilation. Okay, reverse of the string. Okay, printing in a capital, same thing. Fine. University was the input which I gave. That has to be added for the reverse. Okay, that has been added for the reverse. So from A everything it is printing, and from 2 to 4 AJ it is printing. Is everything going according to our statements, whatever we have written? So this is your lab program 4, which is having some 63 lines of code. And if you know what is the method, what are the methods with respect to string, what is the string buffer and all, you can easily write without bahating even a single line of code. Clear with example? Understood each and every method, whatever I have written? And one more thing, once I share this particular thing to you and I told you to update this particular part in a Google Classroom, don't be in a hurry for copying that particular content, pasting, running and making output of it. Intention is not that particular aspect. Why I'll be sharing a code for you is, you see the way how I have done method by method. You try in that particular way and understand how exactly the things are working. Once you are clear, then only make a report and upload. Don't be in a hurry in uploading a report, right? So that is the reason why I'll keep a deadline as a next day evening. I'll not keep it today itself. I'll not say today only you have to finish and update. I know if I say today, you will do the same thing. You will just copy paste and execute the things, upload whatever output you got, you will upload. You will not even think why those particular statements have been written. You will not think about that one also, right? So how I expect this particular thing need to be done is, if you have any confusions, go through the recording either thrice also, no problem, right? The problem is, if you are not comfortable with respect to any of the methods in this example, it will be a very difficult. It is a sign that you didn't understood the basics only, right? So for a time being, you may submit assignment, but you are not comfortable with the syntaxes, whatever we have used. That has to be considered more, right? So take a time, intention of writing each and every line. Again, I'm telling you, to make you comfortable with the things. I'll show you how I need to explain you. Now the final year students, if some program statement has been given, not only with respect to final year students, more number of people, what they will do is, once a statement has been given, they will feel uncomfortable how to convert this particular statement as a program. Why they will be uncomfortable? Because they don't know how to use the syntaxes properly. That might be a problem, right? So as per my capacity, I will try to make sure that you understood why we are writing these things in this particular fashion, right? If you are not clear with any of our methods, you ask me, no problem, I'll explain. Noor Hussain Abu Bakr, what will be the output if we give index greater than the index of input? Just cross check. Will it show you some error, or will it display some garbage value? You just cross check. See, this is a beauty. This is what I expect. Once you get this particular program, you do all the operations whatever you wanted to do, right? So if you have any questions, I don't want to kill your much of a time, but keep this particular point in mind. As you are in a specialization or in a computer science department, or the trends which are going outside presently, you should be minimum perfect with any of one programming language. And if that is a Java, then you will understand so many basic concepts with respect to logical aspects. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can post those questions. I will wait for another 5 minutes to answer your questions. If you don't have questions, you can leave the session. Thanks for your time. Have a beautiful weekend.